Hi everyone, my name is Koichiro Ito. I'm a faculty member at University of Chicago. Today I would like to share some of my experience of first-time online teaching in the spring quarter of 2020. Right after the sudden school closure at the University of Chicago, I had to prepare for first-time online teaching in like 2 weeks notice. I tried a few things, some of them did work and some of them did not work. And I hope some of my experiences here could be useful for some teachers around the world who might have to do similar preparation in a limited time period. And I acknowledge that the best practice would be very different between courses, depending on the level of the course, material, subjects, and students. So what I'm going to talk about today is not going to apply to all the courses, but maybe could be helpful to think about how to structure online teaching for the first time. To provide the context, my course was Applied Econometrics for master's and PhD students at the University of Chicago. I had about 45 students. It was a lecture style with quantitative materials. And there were around 18 lectures, 2 lectures per week. And in a regular time period, in-person teaching will be about 80 minutes per lecture. And I had 1 hour office hour every week. Okay, but because of the COVID-19 school closure and everything, I try to restructure the course schedule a little bit to mainly to accommodate students who might not be able to attend the online session in real time. Okay, so I tried a few things in the following way. Okay, so here's my approach, which I did in the last quarter. So in the syllabus and also first lecture, I talked to students to announce the structure change of the course. And basically, every week I created this flow, okay? For example, if you think about a Tuesday lecture, on Saturday, for example, around 4 p.m., I promised students to upload lecture videos. It's about 50 to 60 minutes to talk about the materials and also slides. And then students are supposed to watch the video and look over the slides. And I ask them to submit quiz answers and questions through Google Form. And then 1 hour later, I promised them to provide answers to their questions on a Google spreadsheet, which I'm going to show you soon. And then Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Or 10:30. So sometimes I had half an hour or sometimes it could be 1 hour Q&A session. So this is going to be real time, okay? And to incentivize students to actually watch the video, I also created a quiz question in the video. Somewhere random, I spoke about small question and students have to answer that question as well. Okay, so here is the Google form you can see, and I want to screen share the form. So this is the Google form I created. And here, students can basically write down their email address and name. And then the next section asks, select your lecture number. Okay, I didn't want to create many Google forms. I wanted to create just one. So here I created the section that students can select lecture number. Okay, so they can use this form many, many times for each lecture. That's why I have like 611 responses from about 40 students, okay? And then after that, they have to restate my small, like a quiz question they can see from the video, and they can briefly answer the answer to my quiz question. And also they can write down the questions about lecture materials, okay? And the nice thing about Google Form is it's gonna automatically transport to a spreadsheet, Google spreadsheet. So you can have nicely organized columns of student names and questions and also answers to the quiz, okay? And basically I copied their question part to my new Google spreadsheet, which I'm going to show you now. Something like this. Okay, so this is a kind of snapshot of my spreadsheet. So I copied and pasted questions from students. And on the left, the first column, you see lecture number. And then I try to answer their questions before the real-time session, okay? And sometimes, I cannot answer well because, written questions might not be so clear. Then I say, this is a great question. Let's talk in the real-time session. But often the time I can provide some answers and students seem to like it because they can ask questions and also get answers in, not only in a real-time session, okay? Because remember that, some students may not be able to attend the real-time session because of time difference or any illness or childcare issues related to COVID-19. So that's why I try to accommodate their situation as much as possible, okay? And then let's go back to the main page. Okay, and then basically I do this structure every week and try to answer the questions as much as possible in a spreadsheet and Q&A session. And it seems to be mostly it worked. And here are lessons learned, and maybe you could improve the process more based on my experience. So overall, many students liked it because they could use both of asynchronous and synchronous learning methods. So the combination, I think, worked well. And I think also this structure worked me personally as well. I also had to do a bit of child care or have to teach at home because university was shut down. So I had to teach from home, and I had small kids at home. So it's hard for me to teach 100% real time in a daytime. And there's a risk involved because internet access might be interrupted, or maybe kids interrupt the class. I had less concern about it because I already pre-recorded most of the lecture materials at night. And only thing I have to do in real time is half an hour or 1 hour real-time Q&A session, which is much more kind of relaxed environment. And I think it's important to think as a teacher, what we could do asynchronously to keep good communication with students. It is not easy, but I think Google's Sheet or other type of kind of methods could help to do that. And also, I was fortunate to have great teaching assistants who can help additionally by using Piazza. So that's the discussion function on Canvas. So our TAs can also help students as well. In my opinion, I would not go for 100% asynchronous teaching whenever possible. I guess students depending on the class and materials, but in general, students appreciate interactive environment, and also it creates some kind of classroom environment. So I would still include portion of real-time teaching to the course. Okay. And in this new structure, I had spent probably slightly more time for preparing teaching relative to regular time in-person teaching. Part of it was probably because it was my first time experience, but also another reason to keep in mind is if you want to keep up with students in a good communication, it requires more effort and time to do that because, of course, in-person environment is good for that, and online environment makes it harder. A few resources I want to share with you. I found headset is kind of irritating to me. Some people like it, but I found good quality microphone actually makes much more sense and effective. So what I use, for example, is this one. I can show you. This is just an example. I get this from Amazon, not so expensive, but it makes a difference in sound quality. And I think it's worth spending some money to do this for students because they can hear well, okay? And let's go back to the main page. And the other one is a tablet, okay? So I use iPad. And this was probably very helpful for my course at least. And I can show you, so I can share iPad using Zoom's sharing function. And the entire iPad can be shared with students. The iPad screen can be shared with students. And in this way, like this is how I usually teach. So I put my lecture slides on iPad and talk about the materials. So I do this both for recording my lecture videos and also, typically I do this also in real-time Q&A session. And, like in a video recording, I can write down this way, right? This is ATET, and this part is the selection bias. So I think I can navigate my slides in this way by writing down. And also whenever students have some questions, I can open up some blank note and explain, okay, so if I need to write down something like this, handwriting makes, I think, makes the teaching very different and much probably better. And, it will make the online teaching environment a lot closer to like a real-time lecture style environment in classroom with like whiteboard. So I would highly recommend trying to use like a tablet, incorporate to the teaching structure. Okay, and think I already showed you the Google form. This is probably useful and very easy to use. I tried some of the similar things in Canvas. Canvas is, typical software for teaching. I found the Canvas function a little difficult to use, and Google Form and also Google Spreadsheet just so simple and easy to use. Okay. Yeah, and another thing is a computer with a large screen would be nice. So I had 40 students. I was able to have all students' faces on my screen. But other way to do is you can have a large screen second monitor and put all the students' faces in the monitor, like a second screen. And that would be probably even better teaching method. And it's really nice to see student faces because you can kind of tell if they're struggling or they got it. So I think it's really important to have nice large screen when you teach. I already said iPad and Apple Pencil will be useful. Yeah, probably those are the kind of important or useful materials to have. Okay. Again, what I did would not be the best approach for everyone, but maybe to get some sense or to get started to think about how to structure the course, I hope this material could be useful. And feel free to email me if you're a teacher and have to do online teaching and have some questions. I would be happy to help. This is important time period for teachers and students to learn in this challenging environment. So I hope this could be useful for many people. Thank you so much for watching.